Sorry about taking so long with all the works that I said I was doing. It's just that I'm really busy right now. And for some reason, I seem to have less and less time as the weeks go on. But now I'm going to do a Carlos comments on Resonance of Fate because these are kind of quick. I just beat Resonance of Fate, and I gotta say, it's it's worth renting, but it's not worth buying. The reason I say it's worth renting is because has it basically has a few things that it's really good at, and throughout the entire game it never changes any of them, which is actually why I would say rent it, don't buy it, because there's no big change of pace. The core combat mechanic only helps it for about 8 hours, 8 or 10 hours, and the game is 80 hours long. Because of the style of the fighting in this game, there are a lot of things to take note of. First of all, every match is like 20 minutes, and dying in any one of them will just start you from the beginning, which makes sense. It makes it anytime you lose especially frustrating because it just means you have to do so much again. Now, I've said before that I like hard games, but the reason I don't like hard RPGs, especially ones where gaming over basically means you have to load the game, is because in hard games you learn through experience, but in hard RPGs most of them you learn through the time input you put in. And if you lose all of that, that feels like you're wasting your time. Like if I lose 50 times in a Mega Man game, I I do gain something out of that, and that's a certain skill for Mega Man. But in an RPG, you don't get that. And that's why I don't really like really hard RPGs, and this game is kind of a hard RPG. A lot of people say that strategy is better than grinding, but to be honest, even with the best strategies, grinding is still a better option because so many enemies in this game are completely fucking cheap bastards. And that also brings me to the story in this game. The reason I transition from that is because a lot of the bosses in the game are like the most completely random things you will ever hear from you'll ever see in an RPG, because every mission has kind of its own unique story structure. The one you'd think these were building up to something bigger, but they have no great outcome. The story is fucking stupid. I hated Zephyr. I hated Vacheron at first. I especially hated him even more as the game went on, especially Zephyr as the game went on. At first, I kind of liked Leanne at first because she was kind of quiet, so she didn't talk every time she attacked, or she talked slightly less than the other ones. But by the end, I just fucking hated her too. The story is just horribly paced out, and it wasn't intriguing, which is actually a really big disappointment because the way they set up the world of the game, where everything is separated in a way that kind of reflects our world but doesn't. It You'd think it would work well in creating a believable world, but it fails at it horribly because this world is not believable at all. You feel like you're playing a video game. Everyone looks like they're just standing there. It feels like a game that should be on the Super Nintendo because it feels like a game that should be on the Super Nintendo based on how characters act. Yeah, the look of the game, it's very pretty and flashy, which is why I think a lot of people really like this game. But it doesn't have a feel as though there's any sense of humanity to this world. Maybe that was the idea, um, but the world is just kind of crap in this game, to be honest. And what really sucks is it had potential. I can see how they would do it, but I think they just wanted to stick to being very similar to a lot of other Japanese RPGs, or sticking to that style. So yeah, there are my two big disappointments. A combat system that kind of wears itself out after 8 hours and just kind of, we kind of goes away really I mean, and kind of keeps going on for like 70 more hours. With only one other time that it was fun, like one little bit where you fought as Vacheron alone. That was actually fun, but that was fucking it. And the story, which really was just fucking unbearable, especially Zephyr's emotional scenes. I'm never sure whether the game is trying to take itself seriously or not, and if it isn't, it fails, and if it is, it fails even worse. So why did I keep playing the game until the end? It the same reason I played Devil Survivor until the end. Oh no, one of the two reasons I played Devil Survivor until the end. Devil Survivor had a great story, so that was the reason I kept playing Devil Survivor. But the reason I kept playing this game, Skinner Box, it's the sort of game that it basically kind of keeps it basically keeps showing you something ahead of you that you could accomplish and keeps you with that. And also, I like to be able to say I beat a game even though it's pretty bad. I don't know what the hell is wrong with me to be able to do that. But that's just how I am. I would consider again, like I said at the beginning, rent this game because if you play for 10 hours, you'll have fun. But the moment you stop feeling that feeling of real engagement and really stop really enjoying this game, stop. Just stop because it's not going to get any better. There's nothing that really changes up. I thought there was going to be, and there wasn't. And like the story and like the world, I could totally see what they could do to fix the problem of the the combat, and that's quite simply give me different types of guns. All they give you are pistols and submachine guns in the game. And I noticed a lot of the enemies in the games had shotguns, swords, sniper rifles, and assault rifles. I thought it would have been really interesting if you could do something very, very different with every gun, but still make it work into the hero gauge system and the charging system that they already have. That would I think would have really helped it. I've heard some people say that they think the combat holds it all together, and I gotta say, it it does for a little while, but I just stopped caring after a while. So that's Resonance of Fate. Rent it, uh, rent it, and then yeah, that's basically it. Rent it, play with it for a little while, and rent it, play with it, and the moment you see a mission where you have to guard an enormous train from a bunch of, I think they're mannequins. That's about the sign that this is about to get really boring and annoying at the same time. So once you hit that point, just return it. That's my opinion, and hope you enjoy this video.